So what is TBN Plex? Well, TBN Plex is a collection of Python scripts that act as a custom controller for your Plex viewing experience. The idea behind it is, well, it was started as a way to use your Plex server to create your own personal custom TV channel so that you could set it and forget it, and whenever it was running, something was playing on your TV, and when you were gone or you didn't want it running, you stopped it and stuff was not playing. That was the idea. We've added a lot onto it since then. So, but at the core level, it is still a custom TV channel experience. That's what we've been working towards. So, there's a few things that make this work, and we're always expanding upon that, but the main way that it's used is you make use of Plex's webhook ability to send webhooks to a address, and we react to those webhooks. Now there's a lot more to it than just webhooks. We have a schedule mechanism. There is a built into that schedule mechanism some fallback checks so that you really don't even need the webhook checker to have it play content. Though things like the hue light integration actually relies on the webhooks. So if we start a program, the next program, which is going to be Marvel's The Defenders Episode 1, the H Word. Here you can see it playing in the background. Webhook checking is on. If you're running in Windows like I am, you can see here is we'll turn those off. The Defenders is playing in the background. I guess Desk Lights isn't a group. I'll have to check that. But anyway, so if I stop this program, you'll see it'll automatically restart what's up next in my queue automatically, which is the Defenders, until it gets a scrobble, which is a webhook action that's sent by Plex. Right, and you can simulate that actually with this scrobble button. Right, we just scrobbled. If I stop playback, it should start Grimm. And there you go, there's Grimm playing in the background. Now there's a lot more to it than just it picking content and adding it to your play queue. You can see here the play queue will show Grimm now playing. If we do a up next is Deadwood. Alright, so there you can see it there. It actually automatically populates your queue for you when there's nothing in your queue or only one item, because you always want to know what's up next, essentially. So you always have, that, right? It's kind of like clicking on a guide on your cable box or whatever, right? You know what's playing, you know what's up next. Or you might ask, well, why don't we know like the third or fourth or fifth or sixth things or whatever? Well, we operate on the principle that you might want to inject things up next. So it really only looks at getting the next item so that you have some customization if you want to use it. Now one of the big features that we have built into TBN Plex that a lot of people wish they had in their setup is what we call block packages. And the idea behind a block package is, if you ever watch regular like broadcast TV, like Monday they'll play a certain block of shows at a certain time every Monday, and Tuesday they have a certain set of shows that play, and Wednesday they have a certain set of shows that play, and so on and so forth. So what we let you do is you can define these blocks of content. Like if you watch the setup video, I created this Saturday block as part of the install video that showed you how that was done. So if we set play mode to this Saturday block, right, you'll see that up next, Westworld Season 1, Episode 1, the original. Our play mode is now block package, Saturday block. If we stop playback or start next program, there you go, you can see Westworld Pilot. It's picked up from where I left off in that show. If you remember, we have resume status as an option, so it will always resume from where you left off if you previously watched something. So you got that going for you. Right, so let's scrabble this. We'll pretend like Westworld, that whole episode played, and now it should go to Deadwood. There you go. Oh, what up next actually is a little, it's delayed. That's off the Plex sessions. See, there you go. Alright. Up next, Godless. You know all this. You can easily create blocks either using the add block option, or if you have an existing block from the movies or the TV shows, whatever you watch, or whatever you look at, there is this add to block option where you can specify a block to add it to. Now when it plays through, looking at this block, the Saturday block, you'll see it's at Deadwood up next, which it hasn't scrabbled. Once it scrabbles, it'll show Godless up next, then Firefly. Once it's played through all 4 items, it plays the next episode from those items, right? So it only plays one. It'll play an episode of Westworld, an episode of Deadwood, an episode of Godless, an episode of Firefly, and then it will revert back to normal mode, right? And normal play mode is just queued playback, right? It plays whatever is in your queue. And it's funny because it actually shows Deadwood is now playing. But if you go, you can click on, block package mode, Saturday block, normal mode. Now we're back to normal mode. Now you have these other modes in there you might have noticed. Like in the setup video, demo video, I showed you that MTV is, we brought back music television. Blocks, you can pick a block package. I guess I have to fix that. A little bug there, it should show the Saturday block as an option. You got movie time. Movie time restricts it to just movies. Showtime restricts to just TV shows. And then, of course, home, quit, and then a shortcut to get to play settings so you can easily change stuff. If you remember the wildcard show, if you watched the setup video, that is the show that it will pick from your TV shows more often than the rest. Think of it as the show that you're working through, right? Like you want to watch all of Big Bang Theory. It'll more heavily weight Big Bang Theory so that way you can work your way through it. Now there are some subtle shortcuts built in. A lot of these options are clickable to where you can get to the item and easily get back to things like the settings. This yellow menu at the top is a shortcut for home, even though you have the home button here. Now, another mode that we have built into TBN Plex along the way is channels. So we decided, along with having these blocks in this normal play mode and all these things that go on, is you might want to watch channels like you would traditional TV. So it will automatically create channels based on studios in your library. And once it builds those channels, it will then automatically populate those channels with content, approximately 180 minutes worth of content. It might go a little less, it might go a little more. It depends on how much content you have for that channel in your library. So you notice like some of mine, old sci-fi versus new sci-fi, TNT. If I look at one like CBS All Access, all I have is Star Trek Discovery from that, so it just puts Star Trek Discovery in there. You get to generate channel to regenerate the channel if you want to, though for some things like CBS All Access, where all I have is Star Trek Discovery, it just has one item. Now you can watch these channels just like you would a block. You just set play mode to it. And now we're in channel Fox. Up next is going to be Married with Children. Well, the thing that is neat about channel mode is we did add, to simulate the classic TV viewing experience, this channel up and channel down option, so you can channel surf, so to speak. Right? So if we want to channel up to channel 8, we can go to channel 8, and it will play Indiana Jones from the History Channel. Right? So you got that going for you. You can also similarly channel down, and it will channel back down to channel 7. And you'll notice it picks up from right where you left off, which is sort of simulating how a TV channel viewing experience would be, only you didn't miss any time in between, right? So it's like better TV channel watching. Now, one thing I will mention is you'll want to have resume status on to really get that experience. If you have that off, it'll just pick up from the beginning of whatever's on that channel, and you may or you may not want that. That's why we have resume status as an option. We got a bunch more options in here: random start, automatic subtitle, commercial injection, pre-roll injection, random block injection, which that will inject blocks into your play queue. It's sort of another way to mix things up. Dual client mode will play on 2 clients simultaneously. Favorites mode restricts choices to your favorites. And then, of course, the wildcard action that I spoke of before. You can look at your webhook settings. You can see it's on for my user. You can turn it off. You can sleep it. Sleep it will turn off webhook checking when the program ends instead of when you hit off. That's what that's all about. Now, I've shown you before the schedule mechanism. You can schedule anything you really want in here. Let me show you an example of, because this all runs actually through command line as well. That's the command. Well, that's not the command. Let's look up the command. Yes, I want to see all 183 custom options we've added. Let's see here. Huh. That's a lot of stuff to look through. Well, let me look this one up real quick. View schedules and get schedules. There you go. So in my normal setup, there we go. There you can see I have all these actions scheduled to happen every day. Friday block, Thursday block, right? It automatically schedules them at 6 or 4 p.m. and then the AM ones at 6 a.m. Restarts those blocks every day. You can do all these actions There's command line options for everything. All right, we started as a command line utility. This UI is really secondary to the setup. Sort of thrown in after the fact, so to speak. But we've been slowly adding to it over time. All right, you can look at these. You have a status check option. It gives you all your settings, what everything's set to. It lists your recently added content, lists what your your light clients are, your hue lights, if your light status is on, a bunch of stuff. But I imagine most people will use the UI that's been slowly developed here. We'll scrabble. We'll stop. Should play the X-Files. What are you doing? There you go. So there are some other things built into the UI for convenience, like muting, turning on and off subtitles, stopping, pausing, doing a commercial break if you want a commercial break. That's the same one it did this morning. You can skip what's up next, look at your blocks, get suggestions, look at your movies, your TV shows, channel up, channel down. I did cut that out of the video. This wasn't working this morning. There was a change in the API I had to fix in my scripts. But you can, use alternate server. It has automatic server failover for you. You got voice commands. They kind of work. They're still a work in progress, but they do quite a bit. But anyway, that's the idea behind TBN Plex here is once you have it set up and you create your blocks or whatever you want to do, it's sort of a set it and forget it tool. You can interact with a command line, you can interact through it with voice commands through the UI. So there's quite a bit going there. Like for example, I have it set up integrated with my home automation system where when it detects that I'm home, automatically turns my TV on, starts the next program, turns on webhook checking. When I leave, it shuts all that off automatically. Very handy. So there is sort of the rundown on what is TBN Plex and some of the many things you can do with it. You might have noticed when I did, yes, there are 183, it's probably more like 200 options that you can do. You can set volume, get users, change server, convert your blocks to playlists that'll show in your Plex, explain blocks, and there's just way more than we can cover in a video here. So I hope you found that useful. If you're wondering what TBN Plex is and you're looking for your own TV viewing experience, it is an option out there for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.